Yeah, so Syntasso's mission is to help platform engineers thrive. This is our key thing. And we do this mainly through Syntasso Enterprise. That's our main product. And that helps folks build a platform for speed, for safety, for efficiency and scalability. And we sort of put that out into market. We got an open source product as well, part of that, and get lots of great feedback. Our main sort of feedback comes from platform engineers, everyone from sort of ICs doing the work in the trenches, all the way through to the architects. We see a lot of platform architects. And then when we're sort of selling to folks, we are clearly selling up to the exec suite because the platforms are a real high point of leverage. So Cratix and Ski in particular really helps everyone from like the folks actually doing the work all the way up to the execs get value and deliver value faster and safer. So we are targeting a whole gamut of people. There's only about 20 of us. We like to think we punch above our weight. People often say that we're everywhere doing all the things. So as a sort of one person in an amazing team, I do all the things relating to marketing and to product marketing. But I work a lot with the founders on the positioning, understanding of the problems in the market, the solutions that we offer and how those match up. And then I do have a team that sort of runs all the mechanics of marketing as well. So we do, LinkedIn ads, Google ads. We've got a newsletter. We do webinars, all these good things as well. So it is notionally head of product marketing, but I almost think at our stage of company, all of us do all the things all the time. Going out into the community, particularly the founders, like I've got to really tip my hat to them early on. We're trying to meet folks where they're at, and they were going to KubeCons, they were going to other developer focus conferences, these kind of places, and finding people and chatting with them. For sure, there was a whole bunch of looking on LinkedIn as well, sort of looking for interesting target folks on LinkedIn. There was some sort of cold outreach from previous contacts and sort of like the founder contact book, should we say, like was definitely used as well. We're looking at Scarf or using Scarf for a while as well. I can talk more about that. And that sort of like developed over the last 18 months when we were really kind of trying to find insight and intent signals. That was kind of like the world is changing a little bit. I will tip my hat to the Clay folks for the whole GTM engineering kind of vibe. Being an ex-engineer myself, I was a software engineer for a number of years. I like the sort of systematic and engineering focus on go-to-market. So we were sort of trying to level up, and that's ultimately what led us to Rio Dev as well. So we worked with Scarf for a year. Love the Scarf folks. I'm not going to say anything necessarily bad about them. It was just a different sort of offering with Rio. Again, for our stage of company, we're really keen to get insight into exactly who is using the product and how they're using it. And Scarf were amazing at giving us sort of a company level intent signals. But when you're targeting a big bank or a big government organization, you're literally looking for a needle in a haystack sometimes. You do not know who this person in Singapore looking at your product is. You can go on LinkedIn, you can try and find them. It's quite hard. And that was kind of the key differentiator for us, is like I knew my colleague Josh in sales could actually look up some of these folks, do some research and try and connect with them and not offer them value. Clearly, we're not trying to just scare people on LinkedIn. We're trying to connect and offer clear value, but it was very hard without Rio to actually figure out who these exact people were. We are mainly looking at the account lists for who is engaging with our key pages on the website, who is playing with the product, who is downloading the product. And then we're also getting some of that data to run campaigns, particularly for LinkedIn. We're leveling up all the time. And I know you folks are helping us do that with the training and the constant development of the product, which we're impressed with as well. But so at the moment, we're getting a lot of value in just seeing the accounts, looking at our product, how they're using that. I love the journey where we can see, someone's popped in here, read these pages. Oh, that blog must be interesting because then they went to the pricing page and this kind of thing. So we're probably using it. I'm sure you could probably tell me we could do even more, but we are definitely getting good value out of just understanding who's using the product and how they're using it. So we're bringing in the Rio data into HubSpot and augmenting it with other signals too. But more often not, like again, I will shout out the entire sales team, but they use it as a jumping off point to do their research. Because again, we're clearly trying to look to give value to our customers. So we're trying to understand the pain points that people are experiencing. So once we got some signals of this org is interested, this account is interested, this person at this role is interested, then we can sort of do some research on those two areas. We can sort of pattern match based on, cloud platform architect at like a big government organization, or we've seen some of those folks before. Therefore, we can maybe do an outreach on LinkedIn just to say, hey, folks like you have often really benefited from our O'Reilly book that talks about building platforms as a product. And then we don't, try to scare people up. We know what you're doing. It's more of a case of, hey, can this add value to what you're trying to do in the company? So that's primarily how we use it, as a kind of like a jumping off point for the research, and then connecting via LinkedIn, by email sometimes as well. Rio.dev data into HubSpot. That's our primary CRM, and it will be, I think, for the foreseeable future. Much the sales team would like Salesforce, we are not quite at that scale yet. So our main tech stack is HubSpot for the CRM. We use a lot of the common things you probably bump into, like LinkedIn Ads, Sales Navigator. We use Google for Google Ads, things like that as well, Google Analytics to bring in data. So it's a fairly vanilla tech stack, but at the moment we're only a small team, so we're trying to keep the tech stack pretty simple, and we get a lot of value out of the stack we've got. So we're doing like sort of awareness campaigns. I know LinkedIn is a big focus for us at the moment, understanding how to take that data and then sort of feed it into LinkedIn, augment it with a bunch of other accounts and account signals we've got, and then run campaigns for those folks. Perhaps inviting them to see us at a conference. That was a good use case your team came up with. Said, hey, you could target geos in Rio and say, hey, you go into Amsterdam next month? Well, bring up the Netherlands. Folks that are, have got this kind of tech stack. Like we often target specific technologies where we can help. Things like Backstage and Terraform are kind of complementary to our product. So we'll say, hey, find us some folks in the Netherlands that are this size, demographics, etc., and that have got Backstage and say Terraform, and then we'll try and outreach to those folks and say, hey, join us at KubeCon, let's have a chat, share our knowledge. At the moment, it feels kind of like an 80-20 split in weight of sales. Just where we are, like Josh again is a power user in our organization in particular. I think are getting the most value, because before we really were sometimes thinking, where are our customers? And we know they're there, we just can't find them, can't identify them, right? And I think Enty and I have already got quite a good pool of people in the marketing perspective, from conferences, from other outreach we do. We've got quite a lot of folks we can nurture from the marketing perspective, but Josh and the team are really excited when they get intense signals from Rio to actually go fishing in the right pond, we say. Everyone on the team, you get a different answer, which is actually a good thing. Do you know what I mean? And for me, one of the things I really like is the journey. Like sometimes I want to understand as a product marketer, where do people land? What do they get excited by? How do they try the product? Do you know what I mean? As in, do they like download the product, or do they like do some of our online tutorials? And obviously we can augment that in Rio and see literally, oh, they're copy pasting this kind of stuff, or they're downloading this kind of thing. So I think, yeah, everyone you'd ask in my team would say something different. But for me as a kind of leader, as in like when I'm just trying to figure out a bigger picture of like what's the customer journey, basically, how are people using our marketing materials, how are they using our products as well. I really do enjoy being able to see like person landed there, did that, then all the other team members clearly got involved, because then there's more people doing stuff and you can see the actual timeline of what they're doing. That is pretty powerful. I'm quite a fanboy. I'm not going to lie. I'm not quite Josh level fanboy, and my colleague, he's a proper Rio fanboy. But no, it's fantastic. As in, I really want to shout out. In some ways, the product is really strong, but the team is even stronger. Like I really enjoyed working with Nikita, giving me great feedback. Everyone I've met, Patricia, has given me a bunch of help as well. Any question we've got in terms of like how can we model data, like I've reached out to the team, and they more often than not come back with like some Looker dashboards and been like, hey, what do you think about this? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. So yes, that kind of like sort of white glove, hands-on, call it what you will, but I really do appreciate that customer focus. It's not a case of you just giving us a product, which is great in itself. You are asking, how can we make you more successful? And particularly for folks like myself and my colleagues at my kind of level in the org, we're constantly being told to evaluate, are we getting ROI? Are we getting return on investment? Because every pound, every dollar we spend is really important. So I really appreciate your team has sort of been looking out for us, saying like, are you getting that return on investment? For sure, there's always more room to improve on that. But for all those reasons I've just mentioned, I would give you like a 9.5 out of 10, probably. Pick some arbitrary number, but as in the product's been great, the team's been great, and so far, like I say, we're seeing early good results, and we're hoping to see even more as the product evolves, as the team evolves.